Jordan said he made a bag from streaming Winter.
He never said that.
Did I make Bake Off streaming Winter? Of course.
What's up there, YouTube, and welcome to an episode of How to Screw Up Your Custody Case featuring Bree, aka Miss Wildchild. Some people are fortunate enough to co-parent with the other parent. Some people go through their ups and downs, and some people can be toxic as hell. And in Bree's case, that's all she's been, is a toxic mother from the very beginning. Don't get it twisted. In the beginning, people had hope. It appeared that she was going to be a good mother, because when you have a child, it stops being about you. Your life surrounds your child. But in Bree's case, she couldn't separate motherhood from social life. I know a lot of people are jumping on this thing where, well, 2K took her to court, 2K did this. Let me ask you something. With the way you've seen Bree act and behave towards 2K, what tells you that not one time while she was pregnant did she not weaponize that child against this man? And how many times did she weaponize that child even after he was born? You know you have a rocky relationship with somebody to begin with. Custody is the best thing to do, but what jeopardized her custody of her son was her behavior. You can sit there and point the finger all you want, but when you have one finger pointed out and three pointed back at you, who's to blame? Is she really trying to be a good mom, or is she trying to be the next Kim Kardashian? I mean, here's one thing. I'm not a Kardashian fan whatsoever, but Kim is a mom. So if you're trying so hard to upscale somebody you're trying to be so bad, wouldn't you have the parenting down? See, with Bree and her band of misfit friends, aka associates, they decided to do the unthinkable.
Back to Los Angeles. Please be advised that is a violation of the court order. Should you fail to exercise the entirety of your visitation time in the state of Texas, we will be filing an ex parte motion for the immediate return of Winter for you to have professionally supervised.
Bree was aware that she was not able to take her son out of the state of Texas due to a lot of circumstances going on around Bree, how messy her life was, especially where she was living. 2K did not want his son in those environments. And if she wasn't willing to stay someplace else, just her and her son, then she couldn't take the kid out of Texas. Not to mention it was unhealthy for Winter, because every time he traveled back and forth, the kid always ended up sick. And during one of the weeks of her parenting time, it was recommended by a doctor that Winter not travel. 2K offered an opportunity for Bree to be able to still spend her time with her son, and she decided she just wasn't going to do that. The past 6 months, Bree Olson has pretty much given the courts every reason why that child belongs in Dallas. Just as she's trying to act so confident now, well, she did act confident back then.
She said when he gets full custody, you can visit and get your vows done. Judge already said he's not being moved out of California.
Say is, we going to Texas with my son!
So can you blame 2K for celebrating the fact that not only was he given full custody of his son, but he was also able to take him back to the state of Texas? But a lot of fans watching what was going on questioned, well, why don't you just move to Texas? According to Bree, there's really nothing there. As a parent myself, hearing a mother go on, there's nothing there, your son's there. Now, I'm sure if Bree would make arrangements to move to Texas, even if it was just temporarily during this whole custody arrangement, she would be able to see her son a little bit more. But because life in LA is more important to her than building the bond with the child suffers. I have tons of clips in my chamber of every reason why Bree should not have custody of her son. And I can post them here, but I'm just being repetitive on everything that's shown on Reddit and other forms of social media, including TikTok. In the film Silent Hill, there's one line that really sticks with me, and that has always been, in the eyes of the child, mother is God. And in this particular case, to Winter, God is dad. Because this child knows nothing but his father. His safe place is dad. Why many people want to slack 2K for having his mother there helping him in the process of raising an infant, a lot of people should be questioning, why is grandmom co-parenting a child that Bree should be stepping up for? World of a man, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Now understand, I have a toxic baby daddy and I've been through the ringer with this man. But when I see men out there that instead of running, took on the responsibility as dad and are doing it to their best of abilities, they should get the praise they deserve. Being a parent is a job, and sometimes it's not always an easy one, but the benefit out of being the parent is the unconditional love that you get from your child. And Bree rather entertain herself around toxicity than be around her kid. Like many people, I view the monstrosity of exploitation of an infant child. And like many of you, I wish I had the ability to vortex through my phone, because I think with the millions of people that were offended and affected by this whole situation, the LAPD would have been outnumbered. But what bothered me the most wasn't just the fact of seeing a baby overstimulated in an environment they shouldn't have been in. It's watching a father who wants to go commando and rescue his son, but he has to be on standby. Why daddy was trying so hard to play it cool, you know that his mentality was messed up. Here's his 11-month-old son being exploited on Kick while his mom is profiting off of it. No sooner after Winter was returned to his father, she was back to living her life like Winter didn't exist. She treats this child more like a handbag, an accessory, than a little person that just needs a mother. In the next few weeks, Bree's going to find out that she is not as confident as she thinks she is. And exploiting your conversations with your attorney on Kick isn't always the best thing, especially when there's some things that just shouldn't be talked about online. Bree doesn't want the responsibility of being a parent. Just sign the child over. Sign off your rights, just like your buddy Santos did. I mean, it's amazing how he wanted to be hands-on with your kid one minute and then dump water on him as a prank the next minute. Not exactly a good friend there, is he? What blows my mind is this guy Jordan, who's supposedly her friend and manager, whatever that situation is going to help his girlfriend Val get her kids back, but had no problem profiting off your child. Now, I could show these clips, but out of respect for 2K, I'm not going to exploit his child, because it's bad enough a bunch of misfits did. I mean, Bree has pretty much tried to do everything she can to throw off this custody case, even as far as doing this. For someone who's not aware of the whole situation between Bree and 2K, they would think, oh my God, he's a terrible person. Look what he did to her face. But when you put your life on the internet, eventually somebody's going to clock you, and sure enough, they did. See, that's what happens with the internet. We see something and we're quick to judge it before we get the facts. And when somebody found out, wait a minute, hold up, those marks were not from him. Those marks were from your Botox. Well, that didn't go well for her now, did it? Understand why trying to co-parent with a man that I have children with, I went through DV with this man. And this kind of bothered me a little bit.
Where's my shit at? Where's my shit at?
Why are you standing over me?
Where's my shit at?
Clearly, 2K is upset. There's a situation that went on between him and Bree, but it's Bree's behavior that doesn't exactly align with someone that's a victim of DV. DV victims don't go out of their way trying to look for a fight. A narcissist, on the other hand, does.
You don't look scared. Where's my shit at, fam?
Here she is questioning, well, why are you being so aggressive? You're scaring me. Nowhere did she look like she was scared. And he even calls it out. See, the biggest enemy to a narcissist is the person that calls them out and holds them accountable. And that seems to be one of the biggest problems Bree has with 2K. He has no problem calling her out. There is a big difference between domestic violence and a domestic dispute, and Bree does not surprise me to be the type to instigate and antagonize majority of it. Now, I don't condone men hitting women, but I also don't condone women pushing men to the limit or even putting their hands on them. 6 months ago, these were the accusations that, well, Brianna tried to use against 2K, and the court saw right through it. 2 weeks before Brianna Olson did the unthinkable by taking Winter out of the state of Texas and then exploiting him on Kick, she then tried to pal up with an old friend of 2K by having her go to the internet, claiming that he essayed her. Now, in my opinion of the situation, it sounds more like a friend with benefits kind of deal. And from what I've seen with some of the content between Lena and 2K, it seemed like she was trying to pitch herself as girlfriend material. But when it didn't go her way, well, of course, bitter feelings do happen. Now, I don't victim shame people, and I'm not sitting there saying that women lie. But women like her who come to the internet making up stories don't make it easy for victims, especially when she's on live and says this.
To be honest, like, this is why I don't really like to drink like that. If I, like, drink a lot, I will just say whatever comes out of my mouth. Like,
Oh Oh my God! Oh my God!
But it's this kind of BS that Lena pulled is a slap in the face to anybody who's ever been a victim of SA, especially when one had to fight to get their story heard. But one thing that I have noticed when it comes to Brie in 2K, she's very hyper fixated on everything he does. For someone who hates this man so much, you invest a lot of your energy in him. He lives rent free in your head. Messed up part is that she always goes on and says how ugly he is. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm old enough to be his mother, but he is a very good looking man. And his son does look like him. So when you're calling him ugly, are you calling your child ugly? According to Brie Olson, her unusual behavior last week during her live streams was due to the fact that she suffers from PPD. Now, my question is, how long did it take her to look that information up on Google? And why didn't anybody look on Google the consequences of kidnapping a child? Blows my mind. Postpartum depression is not something to joke about. It is a serious thing. Some women go through it for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and some women have a hard time kicking it to the point they have to be put on medication. And here she is throwing this around like it's a badge. So when, at what point in between her live streams did she go and get the help? Because nobody has seen it. But she'll jump from one lawyer to the next because every lawyer tells her something she doesn't want to hear. So she goes to a different attorney thinking that that team's going to go in that courtroom and get her son. It's not happening. See, while 2K is acknowledged by California's family court system being the primary parent for Winter, he can also end up with sole legal and physical custody because in the last 6 months, there's no reason to put that child in her care full time. When it comes to sole legal and physical custody, there is a lot of mandates that come with that. And since he's already put game in motion, moving in silence while she's moving on the internet, it's pretty much going to be you either follow along with it or you lose your rights. Now, the day after they go to court, it's going to be Winter's first birthday. According to Brie, she's going to be at her son's birthday, you know, the whole entitled attitude. And she is going to stream it. Well, if you end up getting the privilege of seeing your child on his first birthday, you're going to be at a facility where they do supervised visitations. And you're not going to be able to stream it because you're going to be around other families that are there for the same reason. Good luck with that, boo. Every single one of them in that MILF house can sit there and talk the trash that they want on 2K. Because at the end of the day, he's the one that's going to win custody of this child. She's going to have to pay child support. And she's either going to have to play ball with the court system or not see her kid at all. And it's not like any of them really care because none of them are doing anything to help the situation. I mean, it's bad enough that this child was exploited on the internet. And I really hope that 2K sticks to his guns when it comes to going after them over Coogan and pretty much holding an app responsible for exploiting a baby. I mean, the fact that his feet was a thumbnail grosses me out. And that explains why every time they showed his feet, somebody was messing with them. I mean, that's really gross. The fact that, you know, she allowed this gives me the confidence of knowing she's not going to protect that child by any means. Anybody that knows me knows that when it comes to a child, we don't mess with the kids. This isn't a matter of whether I like 2K over Brie. I don't even really know 2K that well. I just know him off of TikTok. But I did enjoy seeing his content with his son. I wish my kids would have that relationship with their father. But unfortunately, he's no different from Brie. When it comes to Winter, Winter should feel loved. He should feel safe and protected. Nowhere in that MILF house did that child get any of that. So on that note, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And always leave your feedback in the comments. I'll see you next time.